Well, too painful for me. I can hardly watch it. It's not often, though, that we get to go to New Zealand twice in one program. We're going to take you back to Auckland now and talk to Todd Niall, who is a correspondent for Radio New Zealand. He's been in San Francisco as well, covering the whole story. Todd, I was watching the race here in London, and after it finished, I was on Twitter, and John Key, the New Zealand Prime Minister, came up with one word on Twitter, which was bugger. Is that summing up the mood of a nation, do you think?
Yeah, there was a huge sort of almost nationwide deflation after that race. You know, there was still hope that New Zealand could get that one win, although I guess most people were starting to fear that the game was lost because the previous race, the previous day, where Team New Zealand had got in front of Oracle but still not managed to hold them back. I think people somehow felt that the end was nigh, but you know, the rest of the day was quite flat in New Zealand as people came to grips with it.
Yeah, Todd, I've been trying to explain to people here that we do have the All Blacks, of course, that everyone gets behind, but sailing's massive, as is the America's Cup. Was there a sense that everyone was watching the race?
Yeah, the America's Cup, we've been in it for 27 years. Our first challenge in 1986 really gripped the nation, and it's something, it's quite hard to explain that it has become a part of everyday New Zealand life. Every few years this incredible event comes together, and it really sits quite deeply within New Zealand in a way that rugby doesn't, because we always expect to win rugby and it's sort of the exception when we don't, where the complexity of this little nation in this high-tech sport with many variables has quite a different effect on people, and there's always this amazing feeling that we can take on the world with it. Just this time we didn't quite get there.
Yeah, I think that we should bring in some vox pops that we have from New Zealand, just showing how devastated New Zealanders really were. Have a look.
Yeah, I'm gutted, but I'm proud of my country. Really proud.
To think that a country as small as us could take on the United States and $1 billion Ellison, we've done a really good job.
I really wanted him to win because it was for him, but I'm still proud of him. It was amazing. They were all amazing.
Oh dear, I'm not sure it's quite worth crying about, Todd, but I noticed even when Parliament got underway today, you know, there was a motion in the House to congratulate Emirates Team New Zealand, to say, look, you've done a great job. So obviously people are still feeling that sense of pride. But can you tell us what it is that, that went wrong? Why did we lose so badly in the end?
Well, I don't think anything went wrong for New Zealand. I think what you watched was a contest where Team New Zealand played most of the cards that it had at the early stages of the regatta and built up what seemed to be a lead that was going to be leading to inevitable victory. What we saw with Oracle Team USA was a very well-resourced, very clever team that when it really came to the crunch had a few more aces in its hand of cards. It was able to bring on Sir Ben Ainslie as tactician, change the chemistry at the back of the boat. It was able to, we understand, either introduce or better use new technology that stabilised the boat on these foils, almost like an aircraft, for New Zealand, fairly devastating effect. So New Zealand probably continued to do as well as it always had, but Oracle had the ability to seriously lift its game partway through the regatta.
And very briefly, Todd, what does this mean for New Zealand in terms of economically? Because I know a lot of people are invested in the Cup coming back to Auckland.
The America's Cup has a great economic role for New Zealand. If it was to have won the event and brought the event back to New Zealand, it plays a big part in boosting the tourism industry here. It's a sort of a showpiece for high-tech, the marine industry, for manufacturing, for design. So it would have been a major boost to New Zealand to have won the event.
Todd, thanks so much for joining us. Thanks for joining us from Auckland, and thanks for being with us here on Impact.